Hello everybody, Dylan here with Art with a Heart and Healthcare. In today's video we'll be doing this piece right here. It's inspired by Claude Monet, and I put a little twist in it, putting a beach ball in there just for the summer vibes because it's almost summer and it's starting to heat up, which is really, really nice. I was starting to not handle that cold very well. So this is the piece. All you need is paper, pencil, crayons, watercolor set. If you don't have crayons and you have just oil pastels, those are fine too. A cup of water to clean your brush, and that's about it. And this is optional as well, so this is going to be the piece that I'm doing this on. I taped off my borders so that I get a nice frame to it, just like this one right here. But if you don't want to, you can always go edge to edge. You don't have to make a border if you don't want to. It just looks nicer with a frame. Alright, so let me move this. Also, I'll be giving fun facts about the artist. So if you have a pencil and paper to take notes on, that'd be perfect. So you can go to school the next day and tell your teachers what you learned. Just in case you skip school or doing school at home and don't have an art class for virtual. It's always good. Alright, so I'm going to get started. And we are not going to use, well, we're going to use our pencil first. And we're just going to draw the beach ball. That's the only thing we're using the pencil for because we want it to get nice and circular like a beach ball. So I'm going to put my beach ball right over here in the corner. So I'm going to stay very, very light by holding this, my pencil kind of slanted and just trying to make it as perfect as possible. Circles are pretty challenging. Just take a lot of practice. But if you have anything circular laying around, you can always use that as a tool. So you get your circle, like a Gatorade bottle cap. That'd probably be close to the same size. Probably not a quarter. That'd be way too small. And you don't have to make your beach ball this big, so maybe you could use a quarter. You could just have a small beach ball. It doesn't have to be too big. And then I'm going to make another circle over here. I'm not going to put it in the center. I'm going to put it right over here. I am drawing way too dark. So I'm just going to lightly go over that with my eraser. Okay, so you got your big circle and your tiny circle. It's not in the center. And now I'm going to start making the areas where the color is going to be. So I'm going to make a kind of rainbow arch like that. And then another one on top. So this will be my red one. Another rainbow arch for a frowny face. That'll be my next color. Hold on once. Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. All right, and then I'm going to make another arch, which will be my next color. And another two, I think. Let me see. Orange, red, green, yellow, white, blue. Okay, perfect. Yep, I got it. All right. So my beach ball is done. So I'm going to put my pencil off to the side. And now I'm going to use my crayons. So Claude Monet, he started making and selling art at a young age. He used to go out to the side of the street and he made charcoal caricatures. So they didn't have pencils back then. So what artists used were charcoal, which was burnt up wood so that you could draw with it. And it'd be like a black kind of soft drawing with charcoal, and he did caricatures, and he was 15 years old when he started doing that. So that's a fun fact for you. I'm going to find a dark green in my crayon box or your pastel box, either one. And I'm just going to start making some ovals. And I'm going to have a light green or a neon green and a regular green for lily pads. And I want the ones up here in the front to be big. And as I get further back into the water, they're going to start getting smaller and smaller. So just use your crayons for now and just kind of making these ovals and half circles. I'm going to get my darker green. I thought this was the darkest one I got. Hold on. Okay, here's my other one. So I'm going to take this darker green over here. I just felt like he used oil paints, and I felt like crayons and oil pastels just made it look so much closer to an oil painting. Markers probably wouldn't be a good idea, especially because we're using water, and Crayola markers are washable, so they'll start to bleed if you get it wet. So I'm just sticking with crayons. Put another one over here. And I'm going to be putting more colors in these. These are just the base colors. He always had like blues and pinks and darker greens and lighter greens. He had tons of color in his lily pads. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this one on top of the one I just made. And then we'll do another one right here. And you can be real messy with this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just because he was an impressionist artist. So the word impressionism means, if I remember, I do remember, but so an impressionist painter, which means an artist who goes out and does landscapes, objects, portraits. They kind of use their own method. Like, it's like quick and messy strokes of colors. Instead of making it identical to what they're looking at, they kind of do it how they see it. So they add colors that aren't there. That's one example. So that's what an impressionist artist is. Someone who looks at landscapes or objects or portraits and puts like their own twists in it, per se. Doesn't really try to make it look identical to what they're looking at, which is really, really fun. Okay, we'll make a couple of lily pads on this side. So I'm just going back and forth with just these light greens and dark greens, not being so concerned with what they look like, because we're going to be adding multiple colors to these guys. Some on top, some underneath other lily pads. It looks cooler that way, and it mimics what lily pads actually do in real life. Some are overlapping, some are by themselves, just all around, all over the place. He did a lot of lily pad paintings. He actually made 500 lily pad paintings. But some artists are kind of hard on themselves with their artwork and painting. I try not to be, but sometimes I just look at something and I'm like, oh, I could have done this a lot better. He actually destroyed 500 of his own paintings with lily pads on him. He went out every morning to his pond where he had lily pads. He also hired 6 full-time employees to work on his garden. And what they did was, in the morning, he would have one of the people go over to the lily pad pond and go to each individual lily pad and wash and dust them, so that when he goes out to paint the lily pads, he doesn't have to worry about all the other junk that may have flown onto them and whatnot. So he had nice, clean lily pads at all times because he had 6 employees working on his garden. So I'm just putting a couple of lily pads underneath the beach ball. So it's kind of like resting on top in a way. I'm gonna put just like 2 over here. And all lily pads are different sizes. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. So you can have some big ones, some small ones, but I'm gonna go from big to small. It looks nicer that way. So I'm gonna draw a couple of little ones up here in the corner, just kind of next to each other, make like a little area. Put like 3 up here. Okay, now I'm going to use some other colors. So I'm going to find pink next. And I'm going to do the flowers, the orchids, on top of the lily pads. So I'm going to, I think this is the only pink I have. Yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to go around to individual ones. I'm not going to do it to all of them. So I'm just going to make lines going back and forth. That's simple. You don't have to be perfect. Just kind of scribble lines on top of just some of the lily pads, not all of them. So I'm just making these kind of scribbly lines, just like that. And then I'm going to find a red crayon. See, this box is different from the one that I used. There you go, there's the red. And I'm just going to go over the pink. But you still want to see pink. You don't want to cover it all. You just want to see little hints of pink. The red is pretty much like the other color of some of the orchid flowers on top of the lily pads. I'll put another little one up here. Go. Alright. And then give you guys time to catch up. Let me find one of my dark greens. Also, so like I said earlier, he started making art at a young age, but his father wanted him to work at a grocery store and learn the grocery business, but he did not want to. He wanted to study art, so he ended up not listening to his father and moved out of the house at a young age to go to a school, I think in Paris, to study art. So his dad wanted him to work at a grocery store and learn the grocery business. Thought that was pretty cool because I started out working. That was like my first job, working at a grocery store. Okay, so now, like I said, I'm going to find a dark green, and I'm going to be doing like the shadows. So I'm just scribbling this dark green all over some of my lily pads. Well, actually on all of my lily pads, just to create shadow. So I'm just scribbling, not being too precise or clean. You want it to be scribbly, because like I said, Impressionists, they did quick brush strokes. They weren't worried about making it clean and whatnot. It's just a representation of how they saw their objects and landscapes. So just very messy paint strokes with our crayons. We're also going to be putting some other colors in our lily pads as well. Definitely going to put some dark green underneath my beach ball for shadow. I got too messy right there. Okay, and then I'm going to find pink. Oh, there's the pink I was looking for. Actually, no, that's like a pinkish purple. It's not what I want. I'll just stick with this pink. So I'm going to go in some of the lily pads with the pink. And then I'll find a blue to put in some of them as well. Can't really see the pink. Alright, never mind. I'll just use blue then. He did have lots of blues and pinks and different shades of green in his lily pads. I think he had, let me see if he had other colors. I didn't add, oh, he put yellow on some of them. So we can put some yellow. Put some yellow in there. Just on a couple of them. You don't have to do on all of them. yellow, blue. I think I see some orange here and there. Some orange on our lily pads. He liked using a lot of primary colors, so orange and red and blue. Put some oranges around like some of the edges. We'll put orange around some of the edges of the lily pads, just so you could see them. I'll probably do that with the pink as well, since we weren't able to see them very well on top of our green. So I'm going to put some pink around the edges of some of my lily pads. And blue. You could use any kind of blue. He used like a baby blue, but there's no crayon that's baby blue. The closest one is this cerulean blue, which is like a blue with a little bit of green. You can put some of that in there as well, just on some of them. He used like a baby blue. Alright, I think I'm good on lily pads. I'm not going to add any more crazy colors. Actually, I'm going to put some yellow around some of the lily pads so that you can see them. Just like around the edges. Just very, very messy and scribbly. Don't even think about it, just do it. That's when the magic happens, to be honest. Alright, I'm done with my lily pads. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add like the reflections and the water of the lily pads. And in his painting, he went vertical. We're gonna go horizontal just to change it up some. So I'm gonna take my green first. No, I'm gonna find my blue. It doesn't matter what blue you use, just any blue. And I'm just gonna make kind of scribbly lines, just back and forth, just kind of crazy all over the place. I'm gonna stay pretty close together with my lines up until I get further up the picture. Then I'm gonna start separating, just to show depth and perspective. So as I get closer to the top, I'm gonna start spacing out my lines a little bit more. See, it's like almost not even showing up really up there. So, and then I'm gonna use a darker blue for some shadow. Then I'll put some greens. So let me find. They literally gave me the same blues in this crayon box. They didn't give me a darker blue. Let me see if they do. That looks like purple. Oh, actually, they did give me a dark blue. So no, that's purple. Yeah, okay. We'll just have to stick with the blue that I used at first. Now I'm gonna find green. I'm gonna put some green in there. Same thing, just kind of scribbly lines all over the place. We're gonna add watercolors to it later. After our little intermission, where I show you guys some of his other works. Alright, so there's the water for now, the lily pads. Next we're gonna do our beach ball. And you can change your colors up. You don't have to do the same colors I'm using. I'm gonna make this area red. So if you want to make like a pastel beach ball or a beach ball with like pink and purple, you could definitely choose your colors. You don't have to do the same colors I'm doing. So there's red. Now I'm going to use green. I'm going to leave that circle in the middle white. And then yellow. Find yellow. Do yellow right after it. Okay. And then I'm going to leave that one white and do this one blue. And then the one after the blue, I'm going to make orange. Just like that. Okay. So before I move on to the reference pictures, I'm going to show you some more of his work. We're going to darken or add shadows to our beach ball. Let me just kind of get some of this waxy crayon off my paper. There we go. So I'm going to find a dark green, and I'm going to go around the edge with the dark green and go in a little bit. Just a tiny bit with this dark green to add shadow. So not all the way to the white circle, just a little bit around the edge and a little bit inside. So I'm not going to go, I'm going to probably stay halfway with all my shadows. So I'm going to find a dark orange. Just go to the halfway mark. Let's see if there's a dark red in here. If there's not a dark red, you can use like purple or black. Let me see what this one looks like. No, that doesn't really do it. Let's see what this does. No, I just did the same thing. Alright, I'll just have to find black. That is gray. Brown. No black? Oh, okay. Then I'll have to use purple. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the purple works. So if you don't have a black, you can use purple. Go. Okay. And now if you don't have a dark yellow, you can use brown to make like a golden yellow. So I'm gonna use brown. And I'm just going to go very, very light. I'm not going to put too much pressure on it. Just very light over the yellow to make a dark yellow. And then I'm going to try to find... Alright, since I don't have a dark blue, I'll have to use purple again. Go. And then if you have a gray crayon, you can use that as well, but if you have a pencil, that's fine as well. So I'm going to do the same thing, go around the edge and go very, very light up to the center. Like I said, if you don't have a gray crayon, you can use a pencil and it'll do the same thing. Alright, so I'm going to give this guy a little break. Now I'm going to show you some of his work and give you some more fun facts about the artist. Alright, let's see. There we go. So here's the landscape that he did. You can see all the crazy brush strokes that he used in the sky, the reflection, the buildings. He started having issues with his vision, but he still continued to paint. And what he did was, up until the point where he became blind, he started memorizing the locations of where he put his colors so that when he lost his vision, he could still keep painting. He had several lily pad paintings, and you can, to this day, go to his house and take a tour around his gardens in Gavarnie. I should have looked up where that is. But it says 500,000 visitors visit his home and gardens each year. Here's another landscape one with nice pastel, bright colors, blues, pinks, yellows, greens, some red. Another greenery landscape. Like I said before, he did so many lily pad paintings. And he also did portraits. So here's one of his wife and kid. Most of his paintings with people in it were his wife and kid. So there's one. Here's another one with his wife. See all the colors and the brush strokes. And when you zoom in, it's just plops of color just everywhere. And the flowers, the skin, the grass. And then here's another landscape one. I learned about this in school, but I don't remember what it was called and where it was. I just remember that there was a factory over here and a shipyard in this area. But I think that's it. Oh, no. Here's another lily pad painting. This one's a lot darker than the one we're doing ours off of. Here's the one that we're doing. The bright colors. The yellows and the oranges and the blues and the greens. He actually has a little bit of purple in his water, which is cool. We'll do that with the watercolor paint. We won't do it with crayon. But yep, that's all of his, most of his work. Not all of it, so I do suggest going online after this project, and I'll spell out his name so you guys know how to spell it. Or if you just type in Monet, M-O-N-E-T, you'll find his work. Alright, move that out of the way, and we'll jump back into our piece. Make sure I didn't write anything else down. I think that was all the fun facts. Yep, that's all the fun facts. Alright. I'm just going to kind of wipe off some of this wax from the crayons. I typically don't like using crayons, but wanted to change it up for this one. Okay, so find your watercolor sets. Water, brush, and paper towels. So I'm going to get my brush wet. I'm going to grab some blue. And I'm just going to start painting the empty space. Try to fill in and get rid of all that white. I want to get rid of all that white of the paper. We could have painted the paper before we started adding crayons, but this process is a lot funner, and it'd be harder to see everything if we would have painted it beforehand. And that would be more area for you to paint. The crayon and the lily pads and the beach ball, it's kind of taking up most of the paper, so there's not that much white that you have to paint in. I'm going to keep it very heavy-handed at the front, so more blue than water. And as I get further back into our background, I'm going to use more water to make like a lighter blue. So I'm using less water in the front, and I'll be using more water in the back, if that makes sense. Go. This is turning out so good. Let's see. And you'll still be able to see the crayon. I love that I learned about this technique from some of my fellow artists. This technique is so much fun. The crayon and the water. Alright, so now I'm going to start using more water so that I get a very kind of light baby blue color. Just like that. I'm going to take a little bit of blue, a lot of water. Wish I had a bigger brush, but I want to use the paintbrushes that you guys get in your Art2Go bags. Let me get more water, kind of spread that out some. Got way too dark. That's the best part about watercolor. If you put too much paint on your surface, you can always add more water to the area and kind of push it out. Get rid of that puddle of that lot of paint. So that's what I love about watercolors. Okay. So there's the blue. And I'm also going to put a little bit of purple in our water, just because I saw that he had some purple as well in his water. And I thought that was really cool. So I'm going to take some purple. Maybe it won't work as great because the blue is still wet. We'll try. Yeah, I can start seeing some of that purple in the water. And then we'll put some green in the water. there is a lot of impressionistic painters out there that were really good. I'm trying to think of some of them. Oh, there's one named Sargent. His last name is Sargent. I'm trying to remember his first name. I think it's John something Sargent. He did a lot of portraits. He didn't really do that many landscapes. Okay, there's some purple. Just gonna get this little empty area right here with some more purple. Okay. I'm gonna put a little touch of purple up here too. Oh, that was too much purple. Okay, there we go. Alright, then I'm gonna clean my brush. And I'm gonna go in with some green. Let's see if we get some of that green to show in the water. If not, it's okay. This is perfect. I'll probably just have to put some of the green up here. Yeah, so I wouldn't put any green down here. I'd put it more in this empty area up here so you can see some of the green. We'll make, I think the green and his reflection in the water was from like the sides of his pond, some of that grass and trees. That was my, there we go, let me move that out of the way. It's looking good so far. I missed this whole area over here. Hope you guys are enjoying this piece. It's so much fun. It's one of my favorites that I've ever done so far. And if you like it, feel free to post it in the comment section. If you have any questions or want to learn more about the artist, I am here to answer your questions. If you missed something, feel free to ask, because I will be watching this whole video and doing this process the whole time so that you can ask questions. Alright, let's see. I think I'm going to add some yellow too. Let me see if he added yellow in his water. No, there's no yellow. Okay. Alrighty. And so if you did tape off your edges to give it a nice border, what you want to do is peel a little bit of it up like that and use your pointer finger and kind of push the tape. You don't want to rip it with full force because then you'll take the paper with it. So you want to use your pointer finger to kind of push it back. And the best part about this is if you did tape off your edges, you can use one of the colors that we didn't use in this piece. I know it's pretty hard. We almost used every single color of the rainbow. But if you have a favorite color that we used or in general, you could use that as your edge color. So it doesn't have to be white. It could be whatever color you want. Starting to rip the paper a little bit because my tape has been on here for a while. That's an easy fix though. Easy fix. There we go. Just gotta rip that speed off. There we go. Okay. Gotta do a little medical surgery over here with the paper. Okay. And then what I'll do is this. I'll find my green crayon, kind of just clean it up some wherever I took off that part. Just like that. Find the blue. There we go. Good as new. Just got a little bit of this paper sticking out. There we go. Now I'm just going to do the rest. Now I gotta do this side. Let's see, how much time do I got? maybe I could do my edges. Let's see if I do like a, let's see what color. Just see how this would look if I did a color for my edges instead of having it just white. I'm gonna do, let's see what yellow looks like. Just like a light wash of yellow. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, you can use any color you like. I'm gonna use yellow for mine. Just a light yellow. It doesn't have to be too much yellow. Just a light yellow. So more water than yellow to make it lighter. Down here, just to make it look even nicer. Never done this before, painting the edges. Always left them white. Just want to see what the effect I get. And that way I can fix this little area that I'm ripped with the paint. There you go. Now you can hardly even see it. Fixed it with the painting the edges. It's a nice gold frame. And we have tons of videos on our video section on our Facebook page, Art with the Heart and Healthcare, that you guys can look up if you had a lot of fun doing this piece that you could do. I have a couple of videos up there of different artists like Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso, all the big time artists that I have fun facts and stuff like that. Lots of different techniques that you guys can learn if you had a lot of fun doing this one. I'm starting to run out of artists though. I'm probably gonna have to start coming up with my own stuff. Eventually gotten through some of the big name players that were out there at one point. Just trying to like find pieces that I could just kind of simplify. Just getting kind of struggling right now. But all right, so there it is. That is what my painted border looked like. So now you can kind of see. If you left them light, that's fine. Now you can see kind of like how different it is with a painted border and a non-painted border. And then if you want to sign it, I'm going to do it on this one since this one's still a little wet. If you wanted to sign it, the title would be here. And then your signature would be over here. You can call it Lily Pond. Something creative. Doesn't have to be too deep because it's just a lily pad pond. But so here are the pieces, the before and the after. I hope you guys had a great time, and I hope to see you again next time. Thank you for watching.